The transport ship shuddered as it docked with Station Nexus Prime. Hyunwoo Park pressed his face against the small window and watched the massive space station grow larger. Metal arms stretched out like a giant spider. Lights blinked in patterns he did not understand. Ships of all sizes moved around the station like insects around a bright lamp. This was it, the Galactic Military Academy, the most famous training center in known space. Hyunwoo took a deep breath and picked up his single bag. Everything he owned fit inside. 3 changes of clothes. His father's old military knife. A photo of his family back on Earth. Not much for starting a new life among the stars. The airlock opened with a loud hiss. Cold air rushed in. The smell was strange. Metal and ozone and something else he could not name. Other passengers pushed past him. Most were not human. A creature with blue skin and 4 arms walked by. Its head turned completely around to look at him. Yellow eyes studied him for a moment before it moved on. Another being floated rather than walked. Its body was like clear jelly with lights inside. Hyunwoo had seen pictures and videos, but this was different. This was real. He was no longer on Earth or even in human space. This was the galaxy, and he was very much alone. Human cadets report to Section 7, a voice announced. The words came through a translator device on his collar. Even so, the accent was strange. Hyunwoo followed signs through corridors that seemed to go on forever. The station was huge, much bigger than any human structure he had ever seen. The walls were covered in writing from dozen different species. Some glowed, some moved, some hurt his eyes to look at. He found Section 7 after 20 minutes of walking. 2 other humans waited there. A young woman with short black hair stood very straight. She looked like a soldier already. The other was a man about his own age. He seemed nervous. "You must be the 3rd one," the woman said. She held out her hand. "Sora Kim, Earth Defense Force Academy graduate." Hyunwoo shook her hand. Her grip was strong. "Hyunwoo Park, Seoul University." The other man stepped forward. "Ji-Hai Lee, former Olympic team." He paused. "Track and field." Sora looked them both over. "Good. At least we have some training between us." She pointed down the corridor. "Our handler should be here soon. I suggest we stick together. From what I heard, not everyone here wants humans to succeed." As if she had called it into being, a massive shape appeared at the far end of the corridor. It walked on 2 legs, but that was where the similarity to humans ended. The creature stood nearly 3 meters tall. Its skin looked like gray stone. 4 eyes sat on top of its head. When it opened its mouth, Hyunwoo saw rows of sharp teeth. "Human cadets," the creature said. Its voice was deep and rough like grinding rocks. "I am Instructor Vorthak. You will follow me." They walked through more corridors. This time, Vorthak did not wait for them to keep up. His long legs moved fast. The humans had to jog to stay close. Other cadets they passed were all bigger than the humans. Most stared. Some made sounds that might have been laughter. "Your species was accepted into this academy as an experiment," Vorthak said without looking back. 3 slots out of 300. "Do you not think this makes you special? It makes you test subjects." They entered a large room filled with beds. Each bed had a locker next to it. Dozens of alien cadets moved around the space. The noise was incredible. Different languages mixed together. Some species communicated with sounds that were not quite speech. Others used flashing lights or changing colors on their skin. "Humans will be integrated with other species," Vorthak announced. "You will learn to work with your betters or you will fail." He pointed to 3 beds separated around the room. "Park, bed 47. Kim, bed 12. Lee, bed 93. His 4 eyes focused on them. "Classes begin in 1 hour. Do not be late. Do not disappoint your species more than you already have by existing." Vorthak left them standing there. Hyunwoo found bed 47 in a corner of the room. The bed next to it was much larger. It would need to be. The creature sitting on it was huge, even by the standards of this place. Its skin was dark red and covered in what looked like natural armor plates. 2 arms, 2 legs, but each arm was as thick as Hyunwoo's entire body. The creature looked down at him. "You are my roommate?" "I guess so," Hyunwoo said. He put his bag on his bed. "I am Hyunwoo Park." "Kale," the creature replied. "Vraxian 3rd Combat Class." He studied Hyunwoo like he was looking at a broken tool. "How much do you weigh?" 78 kilograms. Kale made a sound that might have been surprise. "I weigh 340 kilograms. My species evolved on a high-gravity world. We are strong. Very strong. He leaned closer. What is your species good at? You are small. Weak-looking soft. Hyunwoo unpacked his few belongings. I do not know yet. You do not know. Kale's voice rose. Other cadets nearby turned to look. How can you not know what your species does well? Humans are new to galactic society, Hyunwoo said. He put his father's knife in his locker. We have not had time to find our place yet. A smaller creature approached them. This one walked on 4 legs and had green fur. Its head was large compared to its body. Big eyes suggested intelligence. I am Dex, it said in a high voice. Xanthari species. I study xenobiology. It looked at Hyunwoo with obvious curiosity. Humans are fascinating. Your species spread across your entire planet. Most species never leave their birth continent. We move around a lot, Hyunwoo agreed. Yes, but more than that, Dex continued. Your species lives in deserts and frozen lands and jungles and mountains. Most species find one environment and stay there. Humans adapt, Kyle snorted. Adaptation is not strength. Strength is strength. A loud sound echoed through the room. All conversation stopped. The alien cadets began moving toward the exits in organized groups. Hyunwoo saw Sora and Jihai being carried along by the crowd. First class, Kale said. He stood up. His shadow covered Hyunwoo completely. Try to keep up, human. The instructors do not wait for slow learners. They joined the stream of cadets flowing out of the dormitory. Hyunwoo found himself surrounded by beings that were taller, stronger, and more impressive than anything he had ever imagined. Some had natural weapons. Others had thick armor-like skin. A few glowed with internal energy. What did humans have? What could he offer in a place like this? As they entered a massive training hall, Hyunwoo realized he was about to find out. The easy part was over. Now the real test began. The academy would push him harder than he had ever been pushed before. It would try to break him in ways he could not yet imagine. But as he looked around at the sea of alien faces, Hyunwoo felt something he had not expected. He felt ready. The alarm sounded at dawn. Hyunwoo jerked awake as lights blazed to life overhead. Around him, alien cadets moved with practiced efficiency. Some had been at the academy for months. They knew the routine. Kale was already up. The massive Vraxian pulled on his uniform in smooth motions. Each piece of clothing was specially made for his thick frame. First day of real training, he said to Hyunwoo. Hope you ate well yesterday. It may be your last good meal for weeks. Hyunwoo dressed quickly. His uniform felt strange after civilian clothes. The fabric was tough but flexible. It would need to be for what was coming. The mess hall buzzed with nervous energy. Hundreds of cadets from 12 different species sat at long tables. Each species had its own dietary needs. The food dispensers worked overtime to provide proper nutrition for everyone. Hyunwoo found Sora and Jihai at a table near the back. Sora was studying a datapad while eating. Jihai stared at his food with obvious distaste. Protein paste, Jihai said when Hyunwoo sat down. They say it has everything our bodies need. Tastes like cardboard. Better than starving, Sora replied without looking up from her pad. I have been reading about today's schedule. Physical assessment first, then gravity chamber training. After that, basic combat forms. A shadow fell across their table. Hyunwoo looked up to see a reptilian creature standing behind them. Its scales were deep blue with silver markings. 2 yellow eyes studied them with obvious dislike. The human table, the creature said. Its voice hissed on certain words. How convenient. All the weak ones in one place. Is there something you need? Sora asked. She set down her datapad and met the creature's stare. I am Thorak of the Draconian battle clans, the creature replied. I wish to see what passes for warriors among your species. You will find out soon enough, Sora said calmly. Thorak laughed. The sound was like steam escaping from a pipe. Yes, we will all find out today. He leaned closer. My species has conquered 17 worlds. We understand strength. We understand victory. What do humans understand? We understand enough, Hyunwoo said quietly. Thorak's head snapped toward him. The reptilian eyes narrowed. Do you? We shall see, soft skin. He walked away, but his words had drawn attention. Other alien cadets watched the humans now. Some with curiosity, others with the same dismissive attitude as Thorak. Well, Jihai said after a long moment, at least we know where we stand. The first test took place in a large gymnasium. Instructor Vorthak stood at one end with several other teachers. Each instructor belonged to a different species. They watched as cadets filed in and formed ranks. Physical assessment, Vorthak announced. Strength, speed, endurance, agility. We will measure your baseline capabilities. Some of you will discover you do not belong here. His 4 eyes seemed to focus on the human cadets when he said this. The tests began immediately. Strength first. Each cadet approached a machine that measured grip power, lifting capacity, and impact force. The results appeared on a large display screen for everyone to see. Kale went early. His numbers made other cadets whistle in appreciation. 3,000 kilogram grip strength, lifting capacity over 5 tons. His punch registered enough force to dent steel plating. Thorax scored almost as high. His reptilian physiology was built for combat. Muscles like coiled cables, reflexes faster than a striking snake. When Hyunwoo's turn came, the gymnasium grew quiet. He approached the machine knowing his numbers would be much lower. Human baseline was weak compared to most galactic species. The machine hummed as it tested him. Grip strength 400 kilograms, respectable for a human but tiny compared to others. Lifting capacity 200 kilograms. His punch registered enough force to break human bones but barely registered on alien scales. Some cadets laughed. Others shook their heads. Hyunwoo walked back to his spot without looking at the scores. He had expected this. Sora did slightly better. Her military training showed. Ji-Hai surprised everyone by posting the highest speed numbers among all cadets. His Olympic background gave him an advantage in pure running ability. But the real test came next. The gravity chambers. The Academy had 12 chambers, each one set to simulate different planetary conditions. Cadets would train in environments from zero gravity to crushing high-G worlds. They would learn to fight anywhere in the galaxy. Chamber assignments are posted, Vorthak called out. Report to your designated rooms. Training begins immediately. Hyunwoo found himself assigned to Chamber 7 along with 20 other cadets. The mix included Kale, Dex, and several species he had not met yet. Thorak was in a different chamber, much to Hyunwoo's relief. Chamber 7 looked like an empty room at first. Smooth walls, soft lighting, breathable atmosphere. Then the gravity increased. Hyunwoo felt his body grow heavy. Each step became harder. His uniform seemed to weigh more. The gravity continued climbing until it reached 2 times Earth normal. Basic movement drill, the chamber instructor announced. This one was a floating jellyfish-like creature that seemed unaffected by gravity changes. Cross the room. Return to start position. Repeat until told to stop. Easy enough, Hyunwoo thought. He started walking. After 5 minutes, his legs burned. After 10, sweat poured down his face. Several alien cadets were already struggling. An insect-like being from a low-gravity world collapsed after 15 minutes. The gravity increased again. Now it felt like 3 times normal. Each breath required effort. His heart pounded against his ribs. More cadets dropped out. Kale was still moving, but his massive frame worked against him now. The Vraxian's own weight became his enemy. Dex had stopped entirely, his small body unable to cope with the crushing force. At 4 times normal gravity, only 6 cadets remained active. Hyunwoo was one of them. His body screamed for rest, but he kept walking. 1 step after another. Breathe in. Breathe out. Keep moving. The reptilian cadet next to him fell to his knees. A crystalline being shattered into pieces as its structure collapsed under the pressure. Another creature that looked like living metal bent and could not straighten again. 5 times gravity. Now only 3 cadets still moved. Hyunwoo was amazed to find himself among them. His vision blurred. His muscles felt like liquid fire. But he kept walking. The other 2 cadets were built for this. One came from a heavy world where such gravity was normal. The other had mechanical enhancements that helped support his body. 6 times gravity. The enhanced cadet's machinery failed. Sparks flew from his cybernetic limbs as he crashed to the floor. The heavy world native lasted 30 more seconds before his own physiology reached its limit. Hyunwoo was alone now. The only cadet still moving in crushing gravity that would kill most beings instantly. He could not understand why he was still conscious. Every cell in his body should have shut down, but he kept walking. Finally, mercifully, the test ended. Gravity returned to normal so quickly that Hyunwoo stumbled and nearly fell. The chamber instructor floated down to examine him. Curious, it said in a voice like wind through caves. Your species shows poor baseline strength scores, yet you demonstrate exceptional persistence under stress. How do you explain this? Hyunwoo leaned against the wall, gasping for air. I do not know. I just kept going. Around the chamber, other cadets were staring at him with new expressions, not contempt or dismissal, something closer to confusion, maybe even respect. He had not won the test through strength or speed or any obvious advantage. He had won simply by refusing to quit when everything told him to stop. As medical teams helped the collapsed cadets, Hyunwoo realized something important had happened here. The other species were beginning to notice that humans might be different than they first appeared, not stronger, not faster, but different in ways that might matter when everything else failed. 3 weeks had passed since the gravity chamber incident. Word had spread through the academy about the human who outlasted everyone in crushing conditions. Some cadets looked at Hyunwoo differently now. Others still saw him as weak. The morning alarm brought news that everyone had been dreading. Combat trials would begin today. Live weapon training, Kale explained as they dressed. The massive Vraxian checked his equipment with practiced movements. The weapons are set to training mode. They hurt but do not kill, usually. Usually? Hyunwoo asked. Accidents happen, Kale replied. Species have different pain tolerances. What stuns one cadet might stop another's heart. In the mess hall, tension filled the air like smoke. Cadets ate quietly. Even the normally chatty Zenthari kept to themselves. Everyone knew that today would separate the true warriors from the pretenders. Sora found Hyunwoo at breakfast. Her face was calm, but he could see worry in her eyes. I heard the instructors talking, she said quietly. They are pairing cadets from different species. They want to see how we fight against unfamiliar opponents. Makes sense, Hyunwoo replied. He pushed protein paste around his plate without eating much. His stomach felt tight with nerves. Ji-hai joined them, looking pale. Did you hear about the pairings? They posted the list this morning. Hyunwoo felt ice form in his chest. Who am I fighting? Gorath, Ji-hai said quietly. The Titan class from Sector 9. Sora's fork clattered against her plate. Even she could not hide her shock. That is not a fair match. Hyunwoo had seen Gorath around the academy. The creature stood 4 meters tall and weighed over half a ton. His species came from a world with crushing gravity and constant warfare. Gorath himself was considered one of the most dangerous cadets in the academy. Why would they pair a human with him? Sora asked. Because they expect me to lose, Hyunwoo said simply. They want to show that humans cannot compete at this level. The combat training hall was enormous. Raised platforms served as fighting rings while spectator areas surrounded each one. Nearly every cadet in the academy had come to watch. This was entertainment as much as education. Instructor Vorthak stood in the center of the main ring. His 4 eyes swept over the assembled cadets. Combat trials test your ability to fight opponents unlike yourself. You will face beings with different strengths, different tactics, different ways of thinking. Adapt or fail. He gestured to the weapon racks along the walls. Training weapons are calibrated for each species. They deliver energy pulses that simulate real combat damage. Pain is real. Injury is temporary. Defeat is educational. The first matches began on smaller rings. Hyunwoo watched as cadets from different species clashed in battles that were both alien and familiar. The fundamentals of combat remained the same across all species. Attack, defend, survive. But each species brought their own advantages. The insect-like Kithara moved with impossible speed. The crystalline shard folk could deflect energy weapons with their natural armor. The gaseous Voltar could partially phase through solid attacks. What did humans bring to combat? Hyunwoo was about to find out. Main ring, Vorthak announced. Gorath of Titan Prime versus Hyunwoo Park of Earth. The hall grew quiet. This was the match everyone wanted to see. The unstoppable force against the unknown quantity. Hyunwoo walked to the center of the main ring. The platform felt tiny under his feet. Around him, hundreds of alien faces watched with curiosity, excitement, and in some cases, bloodthirsty anticipation. Gorath approached from the other side. Each step made the platform shake. His natural armor gleamed under the lights. Muscles like bridge cables shifted under his thick skin. In his massive hands, he carried an energy staff that looked like a tree trunk. The size difference was absurd. Gorath could have stepped on Hyunwoo without noticing. Cadets, select your weapons, Vorthak commanded. Hyunwoo chose a basic energy sword. The weapon was light in his hands and hummed with contained power, designed for speed and precision rather than raw force. Gorath hefted his staff and grinned. The expression revealed teeth like broken stones. I will try not to kill you, little human. Appreciated, Hyunwoo replied. Vorthak raised one arm. Combat will continue until one cadet yields or cannot continue. Begin. Gorath attacked immediately. His staff swept through the air in a wide arc that would have shattered every bone in Hyunwoo's body. But the human was not there when it arrived. He had rolled aside, coming up in a crouch several meters away. The Titan readjusted and charged. Each step shook the platform. Hyunwoo dodged again, this time sliding between Gorath's legs. His energy sword left a thin line of burned armor across the giant's calf. Gorath roared and spun around. His backhand caught Hyunwoo across the chest and sent him flying. The human hit the platform hard and rolled to absorb the impact. Pain shot through his ribs, but nothing felt broken. First blood to the Titan, Vorthak announced. Continue. The crowd cheered. Most had expected the match to end with that single blow. Instead, Hyunwoo pushed himself back to his feet. His uniform was torn and smoking from the energy discharge. Blood trickled from his mouth. But he raised his sword again. Is that all? He asked. Gorath's expression changed. Surprise replaced confidence. In all his previous matches, that backhanded strike had ended the fight instantly. His opponents had either been knocked unconscious or too injured to continue. The human should be finished. Instead, he stood ready to keep fighting. Impossible, someone in the crowd whispered. Gorath gathered energy into his staff. The weapon glowed brighter as power built up inside. This was his finishing move. A focused energy pulse that could punch through steel plating. This will end it, Gorath declared. He aimed the staff directly at Hyunwoo's chest. The energy pulse erupted from the weapon in a brilliant flash. It struck Hyunwoo's center mass and lifted him off his feet. Lightning played across his body as the training weapons safety systems tried to prevent permanent damage. Hyunwoo crashed to the platform and lay still. The hall fell silent. Even the instructors leaned forward to see if the human was still breathing. That level of energy discharge should have shut down his nervous system completely. Slowly, impossibly, Hyunwoo began to move. First his fingers, then his arms. Finally, with obvious effort, he pushed himself up to hands and knees. Blood ran from his nose and ears. His skin was pale and covered in sweat. But he was conscious. He was alive, and he was getting back up. Medic, someone called out. No, Hyunwoo said. His voice was rough but clear. He used his sword as a support and pulled himself upright. I can still fight. The silence in the hall was complete now. No one moved. No one spoke. Everyone stared at the human cadet who had taken Gorath's best shot and remained standing. Gorath himself looked stunned. How are you still conscious? Hyunwoo wiped blood from his mouth and raised his sword again. I do not know, but I am. For the first time since entering the academy, Hyunwoo saw something new in the alien faces around him. Not contempt or amusement or even curiosity. Fear. They were starting to understand that humans did not follow the normal rules. That pain and injury affected them differently than other species. That stopping a human might require more than anyone had imagined. Gorath hefted his staff uncertainly. His finishing move had failed. What was he supposed to do now? Match continues, Vorthak said quietly. But everyone could hear the surprise in the instructor's voice. Hyunwoo stepped forward, sword ready. His body screamed with pain, but his mind was clear. He had survived the worst Gorath could deliver. Now it was time to show the galaxy what happened when you could not put a human down. News of the match spread through the academy like wildfire. By evening, every cadet knew about the human who had taken Gorath's finishing blow and kept fighting. The match itself had ended in a draw when both fighters collapsed from exhaustion. But that detail seemed less important than what everyone had witnessed. Hyunwoo lay in the medical bay, connected to monitors that tracked his vital signs. Dr. Zalani, the Academy's chief medical officer, studied the readings with obvious fascination. Her species, the Helix, were known for their advanced understanding of biology and medicine. Remarkable, Dr. Zalani said as she examined the scan results. You sustained enough neural disruption to incapacitate most species for days. Yet your brain activity remained stable throughout the attack. I felt it, Hyunwoo replied. Every part of his body still ached, like lightning running through my bones. But I could still think clearly. That should be impossible, the doctor continued. Let me show you something. She activated a holographic display that showed comparative anatomy charts. Dozens of species appeared side by side, their nervous systems highlighted in different colors. Most galactic species evolved specialized traits, Dr. Zelani explained. The Vraxians developed extreme strength to survive their high-gravity world. The Zinthari enhanced their intelligence to compete with larger predators. The Draconians became perfect warriors through centuries of constant conflict. She gestured to a human figure that appeared at the end of the display. Humans are different. You did not specialize. Instead, you remained adaptable. Your nervous system shows redundant pathways. Your pain response includes natural chemical dampeners. Your cardiovascular system can function under extreme stress. Hyunwoo studied the comparison. So we are built to survive rather than excel? You are built to endure what would destroy others, Dr. Zelani corrected. Your species calls it evolution. I call it remarkable biological engineering. The door to the medical bay opened. Kale entered, followed by Dex and several other cadets. Word had spread that the human was awake and talking. The entire academy is discussing your match, Dex said excitedly. Cadets from 12 different species want to understand how you survived Gorith's attack. Some are calling it luck, Kyle added. His massive frame blocked most of the doorway. Others think humans have hidden abilities. A new voice joined the conversation. Neither explanation is correct. Everyone turned to see Sora Kim entering the medical bay. She carried a data pad filled with research notes. Her expression was serious but excited. I have been studying human military history, Sora announced, specifically our reputation for persistence in combat situations. She activated her data pad and projected historical information into the air. Images of human soldiers from different time periods appeared. Ancient warriors, medieval knights, modern military forces. Every human culture developed the same basic philosophy, Sora continued. Victory goes not to the strongest or fastest, but to those who refuse to quit. We called it different names. Fighting spirit. Warrior's heart. Never giving up, Dr. Zelani nodded thoughtfully. Your military history supports what I found in your biology. Humans are persistence hunters by nature. You evolved to chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. But we are not hunting animals here, one of the alien cadets pointed out. This is military training. The principle is the same, Sora replied. Humans learned long ago that we could defeat stronger opponents by simply outlasting them. Our ancestors hunted mammoths not through strength but through endurance. Dex's large eyes grew even wider. So when Gorith hit you with his finishing attack, your body treated it as just another challenge to survive. Hyunwoo considered this. I suppose so. It hurt more than anything I had ever experienced. But it felt temporary, like something I could push through if I just kept going. Fascinating, Dr. Zelani murmured. Most species have a breaking point where pain forces them to shut down. It appears humans simply redirect that response into determination. The conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Instructor Vorthak. The massive Corvin had to duck to fit through the doorway. His 4 eyes surveyed the gathering with obvious disapproval. Medical Bay is not a social gathering place, Vorthak growled. Disperse. The alien cadets left quickly, but Vorthak gestured for the humans to remain. When the room was clear except for Dr. Zelani, he moved closer to Hyunwoo's bed. Your performance today has created problems, Vorthak said bluntly. Many instructors believed humans would fail quickly and be removed from the program. Your survival changes their expectations, is that bad? Hyunwoo asked. For you? Yes, they will now design tests specifically to break human persistence. They want to find your limits. Sora stepped forward. With respect, instructor, that might not be as easy as they think. Vorthak's attention shifted to her. Explain. Human history is full of examples where we should have quit but did not. We crossed oceans in tiny boats. We climbed impossible mountains. We survived disasters that destroyed entire civilizations. Sora's voice grew stronger as she spoke. The harder you make it, the more stubborn we become. Arrogance, Vorthak replied. Every species believes they are special. Perhaps, Sora admitted. But we are the only species that spread across an entire planet before developing spaceflight. We are the only species that thrived in every environment our world offered. We are the only species that made it here despite being physically weaker than everyone else. Dr. Zelani had been listening quietly, but now she spoke up. The data supports her claims, instructor. Human physiology shows remarkable adaptability. They may be weaker than other species in absolute terms, but they are more resilient in relative terms. Vorthak considered this information. His expression was unreadable. but Hyunwoo could sense the instructor's mind working through the implications. "Tomorrow you return to training," Vorthak finally said. "Word of your match has reached the senior instructors. They want to observe human capabilities directly." After the instructor left, Dr. Zilani began disconnecting Hyunwoo's monitors. "You are cleared for duty," she said. "But I want to continue studying human responses to stress. Your species may be more valuable to the galactic military than anyone realized." That evening, Hyunwoo sat with Sora and Jihai in their usual corner of the mess hall. The atmosphere around them had changed completely. Other cadets no longer ignored the humans. Instead, they watched with curiosity and sometimes concern. "Everything is different now," Jihai observed. "Before they saw us as weak aliens who would wash out quickly. Now they see us as something else. Something unpredictable," Sora added. "Something that does not follow normal patterns." Hyunwoo picked at his protein paste. "Is that good or bad?" "Both," Sora replied. "Respect is good, but fear can make people do dangerous things." Across the hall, Gorth sat alone at a table designed for his massive frame. The Titan had barely spoken since their match. His confidence seemed shaken by his inability to defeat a much smaller opponent. Other cadets gave both Gorth and the humans more space now. Everyone was reassessing what they thought they knew about combat and strength. As they prepared for sleep, Kale approached Hyunwoo's bed. The Vraxian looked thoughtful, which was unusual for his normally straightforward personality. "I have been thinking about our match," Kale said quietly. "When I first met you, I thought humans were weak because you could not lift as much as me or punch as hard as me." "We are weaker," Hyunwoo replied honestly. "No." Kyle shook his massive head. "You are different. Weak things break when you hit them. You do not break. You bend and then spring back stronger." He paused, searching for the right words. "My species values strength above all else. But I am beginning to understand that strength has many forms." As the lights dimmed and the dormitory grew quiet, Hyunwoo reflected on the day's revelations. He was starting to understand why humans had been accepted into the academy, despite their physical limitations. The galaxy was full of strong species. It was full of fast species and smart species and species with natural weapons, but it had never encountered a species that simply refused to stay down. Tomorrow would bring new challenges designed specifically to test human limits. The instructors wanted to find the point where persistence would finally fail. Hyunwoo looked forward to disappointing them. 6 weeks after the match with Gorth, final trials arrived. The academy called it the Crucible, and every cadet knew the stories. 72 hours of continuous testing in hostile environments. Mixed species teams. Real danger. Not everyone who entered would graduate. Hyunwoo stood with his assigned team in the equipment bay. The group was smaller than he had expected. Only 4 cadets total. Himself, Kale, Dex, and surprisingly Minho Choi, another human who had arrived at the academy mid-semester as a replacement for a cadet who had washed out. Minho was built differently than the other humans. Shorter but broader, with hands that showed years of technical work. He had introduced himself as a combat engineer from the Mars colonies. His specialty was making things work under impossible conditions. Mixed team composition, Instructor Vorthak announced as he reviewed their assignment. 1 strength specialist, 1 intelligence specialist, 1 persistence specialist, and 1 technical specialist. Your objective is survival and mission completion in a hostile environment. He handed Kale a sealed data packet. Mission details inside. Do not open until you reach the drop zone. You have standard equipment plus 1 specialty item per team member. Choose wisely. The equipment selection process revealed each cadet's priorities. Kale chose additional armor plating designed for his massive frame. Dex selected an advanced sensor package to help navigate dangerous terrain. Minho picked a multi-tool kit that could repair or modify almost any technology. Hyunwoo stared at the specialty equipment options. Advanced weapons, environmental suits, communication gear, medical supplies. Everything looked useful, but he could only choose one. What do you think? Minho asked quietly. As the newest team member, he seemed uncertain about group dynamics. Something that helps the team survive when everything goes wrong, Hyunwoo replied. He selected a portable medical unit designed for battlefield conditions. It could treat injuries from multiple species and worked even in hostile environments. Good choice, Kyle rumbled approvingly. Teams fail when members become casualties. The dropship carried 12 teams to different locations across a continent-sized training ground. Each team faced unique challenges designed to test their specific combination of skills and species. Some would deal with extreme weather. Others would face artificial predators or navigate treacherous terrain. Hyunwoo's team found themselves deposited in a rocky wasteland under a blazing sun. The air was breathable but thin. Water would be scarce. The horizon showed nothing but broken stone and scattered volcanic vents. Kyle opened their mission packet as the dropship disappeared into the sky. Primary objective: reach extraction point Alpha, coordinates provided. Secondary objectives: locate and retrieve 3 data caches hidden along the route. Time limit 72 hours. Warning: training area contains active defensive systems and opposing force teams. Opposing force? Dex asked nervously. Senior cadets and instructors acting as enemy units, Minho explained. They hunt the teams during the exercise. Getting captured means automatic failure. Hyunwoo checked their position using the navigation device in his equipment pack. Extraction point is 47 kilometers northeast. We need to average 15 kilometers per day while finding the data caches and avoiding enemy forces. Doable, Kyle said confidently. My species can march for days without rest. They set out immediately, with Dex using his sensors to plot the safest route through the rocky terrain. The first few hours went smoothly. The pace was steady, the weather remained clear, and they located their first data cache without incident. Then everything went wrong at once. The attack came without warning. Energy blasts erupted from concealed positions among the rocks. The opposing force had set up an ambush at a narrow pass, the only practical route forward. Down, Kale roared, using his massive body to shield the smaller team members. Hyunwoo pulled Dex behind a boulder while Minho scrambled for cover with their equipment packs. Energy weapons painted the rocks around them with scorching light. 6 attackers, maybe 7, Minho called out after a quick assessment. Mixed species op for team. They have high ground and prepared positions. Kale tried to advance but was driven back by concentrated fire. His armor absorbed most of the damage, but even Vraxian engineering had limits. Cannot break through by force, he admitted. Sensors show a flanking route, Dex reported, studying his equipment readings. Narrow canyon to the east, but it will take hours to circle around. We do not have hours, Hyunwoo replied. He was studying the enemy positions, looking for weaknesses. They probably have support coming. This is just the first trap. The energy fire intensified. One blast struck too close to Dex, overloading his sensor equipment in a shower of sparks. The small Zinthari cried out as electrical feedback stunned him unconscious. Dex is down, Minho reported. Not seriously injured, but he needs medical attention. Hyunwoo made a decision that surprised everyone, including himself. I am going up the middle. That is suicide, Kyle protested. Maybe, but they will focus on me while you 3 find another way through. Hyunwoo checked his weapon and medical pack. Give me 2 minutes, then move. Before anyone could stop him, Hyunwoo left cover and charged directly at the enemy positions. Energy blasts converged on him immediately. The first shot grazed his shoulder, spinning him around. The second caught him in the leg, sending him sprawling. But he got back up and kept running. The OPFOR team seemed stunned by the direct assault. Most species would retreat or seek better cover when wounded. Instead, the human cadet advanced despite taking hits that should have stopped him. Hyunwoo reached the base of their position and began climbing the rocky slope. Energy weapons tracked him, but the angle made accurate fire difficult. He took 2 more hits during the climb, but neither one stopped his advance. At the top, he found himself facing 3 senior cadets from species he did not recognize. They were armed and ready for combat, but something in their expressions had changed. The confidence was gone, replaced by uncertainty. Stay back, one of them warned. You are already injured. Surrender before we hurt you worse. Hyunwoo raised his weapon, blood running from multiple wounds. I am still standing. That means I can still fight. The brief combat that followed was more psychological than physical. The OPFOR cadets found themselves reluctant to press their attack against an opponent who seemed immune to normal concepts of pain and defeat. Their hesitation gave Hyunwoo the opening he needed to disable their weapons and force their withdrawal. By the time his team reached the position, the enemy had retreated. Kale and Minho stared at Hyunwoo in amazement. He was covered in burns from energy weapons and could barely stand, but he was conscious and alert. How? Minho asked simply. I kept moving, Hyunwoo replied, accepting medical treatment from the portable unit. They expected me to stop when I got hurt. When I did not, they could not adapt their tactics. Dex recovered consciousness as they prepared to continue the mission. Did we win? The human won, Kale corrected. We just watched. The rest of the Crucible tested them in different ways. Environmental hazards, equipment failures, navigation challenges, additional OPFOR encounters. Each obstacle pushed the team to their limits. But every time disaster struck, Hyunwoo found a way to keep the team moving forward. When Kale was injured by falling rocks, Hyunwoo helped carry him despite being much smaller. When their food supplies ran low, he volunteered to go without so the others could maintain their strength. When Minho's equipment was damaged in a river crossing, Hyunwoo gave up his own gear to keep the engineer functional. 71 hours after the drop, their exhausted team reached the extraction point. They had found all 3 data caches, avoided capture, and completed every mission objective. The extraction team that picked them up included Dr. Zilani and several senior instructors. They immediately began medical examinations of all 4 cadets. Fascinating, Dr. Zilani murmured as she reviewed Hyunwoo's condition. You sustained 14 separate injuries during the exercise. Any one of them should have forced you to stop and seek treatment. Instead, you continued mission activities while providing support to your teammates. Instructor Vorthak approached the group. His expression was unreadable, but Hyunwoo sensed approval in the instructor's posture. Team performance evaluation. Exceptional, Vorthak announced. Mission objectives completed ahead of schedule despite multiple setbacks. Team cohesion maintained under extreme stress. Leadership demonstrated by all members as situations required. He paused and looked directly at Hyunwoo. Individual performance evaluation. Beyond expectations. You functioned as force multiplier for entire team. Your persistence enabled mission success when conventional tactics failed. As they flew back to the academy, Kale spoke quietly to Hyunwoo. I finally understand why humans were accepted into the program. Because we are stubborn? Hyunwoo asked. Because you make everyone else stronger, Kale replied. When I saw you keep fighting after taking hits that would stop me, I realized I could push myself further than I thought possible. Your refusal to quit became my refusal to quit. Minho nodded in agreement. Same here. Every time I wanted to give up, I remembered you charging that enemy position while wounded. It made my problems seem smaller. Even Dex, still recovering from his sensor overload. Graduation day arrived with unexpected fanfare. The Academy's main auditorium had been decorated with banners representing all 12 member species of the Galactic Alliance. Hundreds of cadets filled the seats while families and military officials watched from observation galleries. Hyunwoo sat with his fellow human graduates in the front section. Sora looked confident in her new uniform with tactical specialist insignia. Jihai wore the colors of multi-environmental combat operations. Minho had earned engineering corps markings that impressed even the senior technical instructors. All 3 human cadets had not just survived the academy. They had excelled in ways that forced everyone to reconsider what they thought they knew about Earth species. Nervous? Sora asked quietly. Hyunwoo considered the question. 6 months ago, he had arrived at the academy expecting to fail. Now he wore the uniform of a combat operations graduate with honors in adaptive warfare. The change seemed impossible. Excited, he replied honestly. Admiral Kyreth, the Academy's Corvin commandant, approached the podium. Her forearms gestured for silence as her multiple eyes surveyed the graduating class. She was ancient by Corvin standards with scars from a dozen different conflicts marking her stone-like skin. Cadets, Admiral Kyreth began, her voice carrying easily through the large space. Today marks the end of your training and the beginning of your service to galactic peace. You represent the finest warriors, tacticians, engineers, and leaders our species can produce. She paused to let her words settle. This graduating class is unique. For the first time, we include cadets from the newest member of our alliance. Humans have been with us for only 1 cycle, yet they have already changed how we understand warfare itself. Murmurs ran through the auditorium. Some alien families in the observation galleries leaned forward with obvious curiosity. Traditional military thinking focuses on strength, speed, and specialized abilities. Admiral Kyreth continued. These remain important, but we have learned that other qualities matter equally. Adaptability, persistence, the refusal to accept defeat even when victory seems impossible. She gestured toward the human section. Earth's representatives have demonstrated these qualities repeatedly. They have shown us that weakness can become strength when channeled properly, that small forces can defeat large ones through determination and tactical innovation. Hyun-woo felt hundreds of alien eyes focusing on him and his fellow humans. The attention was uncomfortable but not hostile. Curiosity had replaced the dismissal he remembered from his first days. Individual recognition, Admiral Kyreth announced. The following cadets have earned special distinction during their training. Names began to be called. Kyle received honors for leadership and combat effectiveness. Dex earned recognition for technical innovation. Thorak, despite his early antagonism toward humans, graduated with Tactical Excellence Awards. Sora Kim, Admiral Kyreth continued. Highest recorded scores in xenological tactical analysis. First cadet in Academy history to develop successful combat doctrines for mixed species units, operating against unknown opponents. Sora rose and walked to the platform to accept her recognition. The applause was genuine and sustained. Even alien cadets who had initially dismissed her capabilities showed obvious respect. Ji-Hai Lee. Academy records in multi-environmental combat proficiency. Successfully adapted Earth-based physical training methods for use by 12 different species, improving overall Academy performance by 15%. Ji-Hai's recognition drew even stronger applause. His innovations had helped every cadet in the Academy, regardless of species. Min-Ho Choi. Combat engineering excellence. Developed field repair techniques that enabled mission success rates to improve by 23% during final trials. His methods are now being integrated into standard military protocols. Min-Ho's walk to the platform was accompanied by stomping and cheering from the engineering cadets. Technical innovations were highly valued in galactic military culture. Hyun-Woo Park. The auditorium grew quiet as Hyun-Woo stood. He could hear his own heartbeat as he walked toward the platform. Exceptional performance in adaptive combat operations, Admiral Kyreth announced. First cadet to successfully complete advanced trials while carrying wounded teammates. Demonstrated combat effectiveness that exceeded all predictive models for human capabilities. She paused and looked directly at him. You have shown us that true strength lies not in avoiding damage, but in functioning despite it. Your example has changed how we train all species for combat operations. The applause started slowly, but built to something approaching thunder. Alien cadets who had once viewed him with contempt now stood and cheered. Even the observation galleries joined in, creating a wall of sound that echoed through the auditorium. As the ceremony continued, Hyun-Woo reflected on how much had changed. The Academy that had once seen humans as experimental subjects now viewed them as force multipliers. Species that had initially dismissed Earth's military potential now requested human advisors for their own units. After the formal graduation, cadets and families mingled in the Academy's main gathering space. Hyun-Woo found himself surrounded by alien cadets asking questions about human training methods and tactical philosophy. Is it true that humans can fight effectively while seriously injured? Asked a crystalline shardfolk cadet. We feel pain the same as everyone else, Hyun-Woo replied. We just learned not to let pain stop us from doing what needs to be done. But how do you train that ability? Pressed of Vraxian, whose bulk rivaled Kale's. Hyun-Woo thought about the question. We do not train to ignore pain. We train to function with pain. Small difference, but important. Dr. Zilani approached the group with obvious excitement. I have been analyzing the final medical data from all graduating cadets. Human injury recovery rates are 40% faster than galactic average. Pain tolerance testing shows remarkable consistency across all human subjects. She activated a holographic display showing comparative biology charts. Most interesting is your species' response to team dynamics. Human performance increases when teammates are threatened or injured. Most species become less effective under similar stress. We protect our own, Sora said simply. It is basic human nature. More than that, Dr. Zilani continued. Humans seem to draw strength from group cohesion. Your brain chemistry changes when you fight alongside others. Stress hormones that would normally cause fatigue instead enhance focus and endurance. Kyle joined the conversation, his massive frame creating a shadow over the group. I observed this during the Crucible. When Hyun-Woo was injured, he became more determined rather than less effective. When I was wounded, his performance improved dramatically. Fascinating evolutionary adaptation, Dr. Zilani mused. Most species develop individual survival mechanisms. Humans developed collective survival mechanisms. The conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Admiral Kyreth. The senior officer's presence caused the gathered cadets to straighten unconsciously. "Cadet Park," Admiral Kyreth said formally. "I have your assignment orders." Hyunwoo accepted the sealed data packet with steady hands. Assignment orders would determine where he served and with whom. Some graduates received prestigious positions with elite units. Others were assigned to routine patrol duties on quiet border worlds. "You are not to open those orders until tomorrow," Admiral Kyreth continued. "But I will tell you this much. The Galactic Command has requested human advisors for frontline units. Your species' unique capabilities are needed in active combat zones." She looked around at the other human graduates. "All of you have received similar assignments. Earth's children will serve alongside the finest warriors in the galaxy. You will teach them what you have taught us here." "What have we taught?" Ji-Hai asked. "That strength has many forms," Admiral Kyreth replied. "That victory sometimes comes not from avoiding damage, but from enduring it. That the warrior who cannot be stopped is more dangerous than the warrior who cannot be touched." As the evening celebration continued, Hyunwoo found quiet moments to speak with each of his teammates from the Crucible. Kale had been assigned to a heavy assault unit where his strength would be valued. Dex would join a reconnaissance squadron that needed his technical skills. Minho was heading to an engineering corps that specialized in battlefield repairs. "We will serve in different units," Kale observed. "But we learned something together that we will carry with us." "What did we learn?" Hyunwoo asked. "That species differences make teams stronger, not weaker," Dex replied. "My intelligence, Kale's strength, Minho's technical skills, your persistence. Alone, each ability has limits. Together we had no limits. The galaxy is going to learn that lesson," Minho added. "Every mixed unit with human members will discover what we discovered. That humans make everyone else more effective." As the celebration wound down, Hyunwoo walked to the observation deck where he had first seen the academy 6 months ago. The view was the same, but everything else had changed. Sora joined him at the viewing window. "Nervous about tomorrow?" "Excited," Hyunwoo repeated his earlier answer. "We proved that humans belong here. Now we get to prove that we can make a difference. The instructors are already changing training protocols based on what they learned from us," Sora said. "Future classes will include persistence training." 3 months after graduation, Hyunwoo stood on the bridge of the Gas Harmony, a mixed-species warship patrolling the contested Outer Rim territories. Through the viewing ports, he could see the debris field that had once been a merchant convoy. Twisted metal and frozen atmosphere crystals drifted in the void like a graveyard of ships. "Pirate attack," Captain Vextar announced. The insectoid Kithara's mandibles clicked in anger as she studied the sensor readings. "Happened 6 hours ago. No survivors detected." The 47th Mixed Species Combat Unit had been assigned to this sector after increasing raids on civilian shipping. Pirates had grown bolder, attacking larger convoys and leaving no witnesses. Traditional pursuit tactics had failed repeatedly. "Standard response protocol calls for investigation and pursuit," reported Lieutenant Zara, a draconian tactical officer, whose scales shimmered blue-green under the bridge lighting. "But the raiders have a 6-hour head start. Conventional pursuit will not succeed." Hyunwoo approached the tactical display. 3 months of active service had taught him to read the complex sensor data that tracked movement through space. The pirate ships had fled toward a nearby asteroid field, using the cover to mask their energy signatures. "Permission to suggest an alternative approach, Captain?" Hyunwoo asked. Captain Vextar's compound eyes focused on him. "Proceed, Advisor Park." "Pirates expect us to follow standard pursuit protocols," Hyunwoo explained. "They have planned their escape route based on our predictable response. Instead of chasing them, we should anticipate their next target." He manipulated the display to show shipping routes through the sector. 3 merchant convoys are scheduled to pass through this region in the next 48 hours. The pirates will need to resupply and repair after their last attack. They cannot strike again immediately. "So we wait for them to reveal themselves," Lieutenant Zara said thoughtfully. "But that assumes they will attack one of the scheduled convoys." "They will," Hyunwoo replied with confidence. "Pirates are predators. They follow patterns based on risk and reward. The next convoy includes medical supplies and rare metals, too valuable to ignore." Captain Vextar considered the proposal. "Your species' persistence extends to tactical patience as well?" "When necessary," Hyunwoo confirmed. Sometimes the best way to catch a fast enemy is to let them come to you. The Harmony changed course toward the projected intercept point. For 36 hours they waited in the shadow of a dead moon, all systems running silent. The crew grew restless. Kithira were natural hunters who preferred direct action over prolonged waiting. Human tactical thinking is frustrating, Lieutenant Zara confided to Hyunwoo during a quiet moment on the bridge. My species would have pursued immediately, seeking honorable combat. Direct confrontation works when you are stronger than your enemy, Hyunwoo replied. When you are not, you use other advantages. But we are stronger, Zara protested. The Harmony outguns any pirate vessel in this sector. Individual ships, yes. But pirates work in groups. They use ambush tactics and superior numbers. They choose when and where to fight. Hyunwoo gestured toward the sensor display. By waiting, we choose the battlefield instead. On the second day, sensors detected the approaching merchant convoy. 12 cargo vessels escorted by 2 patrol ships. Rich targets moving through a predictable shipping lane. Contact, the sensor operator announced. Multiple ships emerging from the asteroid field. Raider configuration. They are moving to intercept the convoy. Now we see if human patience pays off, Captain Vextar said quietly. The pirate attack unfolded exactly as Hyunwoo had predicted. 6 ships in a coordinated assault, designed to overwhelm the convoy's weak escort before help could arrive. They had chosen their moment carefully, striking at maximum range from any military base. But they had not accounted for a warship already in position. All stations. Combat alert, Captain Vextar ordered. Engines to full power. Weapons armed. We have one chance to catch them by surprise. The Harmony burst from the moon's shadow like a predator attacking prey. The pirates found themselves caught between their intended victims and an unexpected enemy. Their carefully planned ambush became a trap. They are breaking off the attack, Lieutenant Zara reported with satisfaction, attempting to flee back to the asteroid field. Pursuit course, Captain Vextar commanded. Do not let them escape again. The battle that followed was brief and decisive. Cut off from their hiding place and caught in open space, the pirate ships could not use their usual hit-and-run tactics. 3 were destroyed outright. 2 were captured with their crews intact. Only 1 managed to escape, badly damaged and unlikely to threaten shipping again soon. Effective tactics, Captain Vextar acknowledged as the engagement ended. Your species' approach to warfare continues to surprise us. We learned long ago that winning is more important than how you win, Hyunwoo replied. Honor comes from protecting those who cannot protect themselves. The success in the Outer Rim led to additional assignments for mixed species units with human advisors. Word spread through the galactic military that Earth's representatives brought new perspectives to old problems. 6 months later, Hyunwoo received a message that surprised him. Admiral Kyrith had requested his return to the Academy, not as a student but as an instructor. We are developing new training programs, Admiral Kyrith explained during their meeting. Mixed species tactical operations, persistence-based combat doctrine, adaptive battlefield management. Your experience makes you uniquely qualified to teach these subjects. Hyunwoo considered the offer. Teaching at the Academy would mean leaving active service, but it would also mean shaping how future generations of galactic military officers approached warfare. Will I be the only human instructor? He asked. Initially, yes, but we plan to recruit others as they complete their active service rotations. Admiral Kyrith's 4 eyes studied him carefully. Your species has proven that strength comes in many forms. Now we need teachers who can help other species understand those lessons. The decision was easier than expected. Hyunwoo accepted the position and found himself back at the Academy where his journey had begun. But everything was different now. The new human cadets who arrived each semester were no longer seen as experimental subjects. They were welcomed as valuable additions to the galactic military. Their training was designed to enhance their natural persistence, rather than force them to compete on alien terms. Standing before his first class of mixed-species cadets, Hyunwoo felt the weight of responsibility. These beings would serve together in real combat situations. What he taught them might determine who lived and who died. Combat effectiveness comes from understanding both your own capabilities and those of your allies, he began. Every species brings unique strengths to warfare. Success comes from combining those strengths rather than competing with them. A young Vraxian cadet raised one massive hand. But what if one species is clearly superior in combat ability? Superior in what way? Hyunwoo asked. Raw strength? Weapon skills? Tactical intelligence? All of those, the cadet replied confidently. Hyunwoo smiled. Let me tell you about the first time a human took a blow that should have ended the fight but kept moving anyway. As he began the story, Hyunwoo realized something important. The academy had changed him, but he had also changed the academy. The galaxy was learning that diversity of capability was strength. That different did not mean lesser. Most importantly, they were learning that the warrior who could not be stopped was often more valuable than the warrior who could not be touched. The lesson continued, but now it was being taught to every species in the galaxy, and at the heart of that lesson was a simple truth that humans had always known. Sometimes the most important battle was not the one you won, but the one you refused to lose. The galaxy was still learning that lesson, but with human teachers and mixed species students, they were learning it faster than anyone had thought possible. The future of galactic warfare would be built on cooperation, persistence, and the understanding that true strength came from standing together when everything tried to tear you apart. And humans would be there to remind everyone that no matter how hard you hit them, they would keep moving forward.